So welcome. Today is Wednesday, December 4th, 2024. Welcome to the CIM MES discussion group seminar featuring Dr. Doris Hiam-Galvez. Okay. My name is Carlos Da Costa, chair of the CIM MES discussion group committee. And my wing person is Jackie Allison, chair of MES. So a little bit about Doris, okay? Doris is a senior advisor at Hatch Consulting and a board member at PDC and an outspoken champion of sustainable development. Her presentation is entitled Designing Sustainable Prosperity. A little bit about who we are, okay? We are part of CIM, and CIM stands for the Canadian Institute of Mining, Mineral, Petroleum Association. CIM is a leading nonprofit technical society of professionals in the Canadian minerals, metals, materials, and energy industry. We have 11 technical societies and 30 local branches across Canada and overseas. We've been around since 1898, so that's a fair amount of time. And MES is a society within CIM. So MES starts, it's an abbreviation for the Management Economic Society, and CIM MES actively works towards furthering education in the mineral economic space. It uses the funds raised to support various educational initiatives and programs in the minerals economics and at the Canadian universities. Our sponsor for today's event is IAMGOLD. So without further ado, I'll let Doris take over. But before we do, how this is going to run is like this, okay? The presentation is going to be approximately 30 to 45 minutes long, followed by a Q&A. If you go into the Q&A chat box, feel free to input any questions that you may have for Doris. And we're going to start out with a survey, if I'm correct. And I believe that Jackie is going to be instigating the survey itself. So the survey basically tries to understand for Doris's needs, which sector you work in. So feel free to add to it.
We can get a sense here, and we don't have everybody at the moment. Probably there'll be others who join us in a bit. So from those who are here, at least we'll get a sense. So it's a mix of, so far, mining operations, consulting. It's the majority, about half, and then capital markets, some participants, and other, about a quarter of our participants are not in any of these three.
Thank you very much, Carlos, for the nice introduction and for doing the poll so quickly. So delighted to be here with you. And so the majority seem to be consultants. It's very much the same in all CIM gatherings, but is a good proportion of capital markets. So I just wanted to see how I can tailor to the audience and the reason for doing the poll. So I believe that we can create prosperity while protecting the environment and improving the quality of life of the local communities. And this is the foundation of designing sustainable prosperity. It's a holistic approach, unlocking both human and natural resources potential to achieve development and sustainability, both crucial for our future. I have been leading company operations for many years, 30 years, and have witnessed the contrast between wealth and poverty. So evidence that perhaps we need to address these things differently. So for years, I ponder, is there a better way to approach this complex situation? And it has taken me 15 years to develop, implement, and publish a book on a new way of achieving both development and sustainability. So I'll take you through, first, the designing sustainable has two unique aspects, the scientific and the societal transformation. I will take you through both and share the case studies. Then we will stop for Q&A. So I would like to invite everyone to transition from wherever your mind has been and all the things you need to do into here and now, so we can go through that door into this journey together. So what are the main risks we are facing to deliver these materials we desperately need? And the risks are, of course, climate change, a reliance on one commodity economy or two commodity economies, and a shortage of skilled labor. And I won't say designing sustainable prosperity each time, but just DSP to make it easier. So please know that when I say DSP, I'm saying the short of designing sustainable prosperity. So DSP tackles these challenges with a holistic approach, unlocking untapped potential for system-wide solution that addresses climate change, but also pioneers innovative solutions to diversify and scale the economy, positioning the region as a leader in the knowledge economy, a center of excellence in few things. So it's a focused effort, and positions the region as a leader in the knowledge economy. So once the focus is established, the education can be adapted to provide the skills and tools to support that evolving economy. As shown in this slide, regional economic activity is plotted on the vertical axis and time on the horizontal axis. The red curve represents mining. It shows an increase in economic activity during operations, followed by a decline as resources are depleted. The yellow curve illustrates how support industries, consultants, equipment suppliers follow this same trend. Of course, the preferred outcome is shown by the green curve. Is to sustain a stable, livable level of economic activity that extends beyond the life of extractive operations. The big shift here is to transition from mine-centric mindset to one focused on regional prosperity. So the priority is the regional prosperity and not just around mining. So that mining is seen right now as harmful, it changes to be seen as a force for good, because the priority for everyone becomes what stays behind the prosperity of the region. So mining becomes a catalyst, an enabler of something good that stays beyond the life of the mine. If we look at from a project, here is a copper project, a big copper project that could take 30 years from exploration all the way to the end. So in a project implementing DSP early in the stage is ideal. So it's beneficial at any stage of the development of a project. So starting DSP early allows for a deep understanding of the ecosystem and start building trust, as you can see up here. So engaging with key parties to recognize a full range of opportunities for co-creating an ecosystem driven by innovative solutions and diversifying and scaling the economy sets the foundation for sustainability for all future projects. And this approach not only allows the project to move smoothly, but changes the negative perception of mining, creating a welcoming environment for further investment. As you can see here, once mining has ended, the green, the prosperity continues long beyond the life of the mine, although the legacy of the mine also continues for a long time. Yeah. So I'm going to jump quickly into some case studies to really share how this applies. These are high-level case studies in 6 locations. I'll go briefly through each of them, and then we can answer more questions at the end. Then I will cover the method, and then we will conclude. So the first case study, here's in south of Peru. This region economy is driven nearly 100% by copper mining and smelting. But the region suffers of water scarcity. At the same time, as you can see on the top right, it has the best solar irradiation potential, the highest levels in the world. But also this region has expertise in complex thermal processes from the nearby smelters. So they can move from, right now they are just technology purchases, like many parts of the world. The IP stays in the headquarters and the home bases. So they are technology purchases. So they have opportunity to move from technology purchasers to leaders by showcasing that ability to adapt and evolve complex thermal process technologies. So one opportunity is advance a direct solar seawater desalination technology. It's a new technology by concentrated solar power, which is a thermal process. Remember, they have skills on thermal process, so this is a new solar technology that needs thermal process expertise. It's a complex one. So this technology could also, they also have good geothermal, so they can, the solar can be combined with geothermal and even adapted with advanced crystallization technology to recover all the salts from the brine. So it's like heating a dome. As you can see here, it's being piloted in the desert. And then boil the water, it's a big kettle, and then distill and have separate water from the brine as fresh water. And to lower the cost of this technology, high temperature processing and equipment know-how is needed. So Peru can adapt these complex thermal processes to the region, make them economically viable, and become a center of excellence for this know-how. So this approach, we'll go to the next slide, addresses the water scarcity and the energy need to solve the water scarcity issue. So as you can see here, the system is enabled by the copper mining and smelting to create clean energy to solve the water issue and open the door for the precision agriculture, but not just agriculture. It's a fertile terrain, but value-added food products that also focus on drying processes to keep the highest level of nourishment in the food. Let's look at another case study in Northern Ontario, in the Ring of Fire. So here, it's something that all Canadians should be interested in. It's something incredibly extraordinary occurring and impacts most Canada landscape. So it's a crucial ecosystem thrives above these mineral deposits. So it's a wealth of mineral deposits that we all know in the Ring of Fire, but it's less known, this incredible ecosystem that's thriving above these minerals deposits. And these are our Canadian peatlands. And they encompass nearly half of the world's wetlands. They play a role in retaining water, sequestering around 60% of Canada's organic carbon in soils, mitigating flood, purifying water, and providing vital wildlife habitats. And the key is these peat soils can hold up to 30 times this weight in water and store 3 times more carbon than a boreal or tropical forest for the same surface area. So the main challenge is to maintain the environmental benefits of these peatlands, retaining these carbon sink features. So what the opportunity creates in this region is peatland. So the only option we have is keep those peatlands healthy. An opportunity is peatland regeneration becomes an opportunity. So it may be possible to develop a mining economy with absolutely minimum impact to the environment in this region and develop a business case to keep these peatlands healthy. And this region can become a hub for the knowledge of peatland hydrology, which is essential for peat stability and regenerate these vital ecosystems. So this is like billions of pipelines. So that's it. So you can imagine in surface, a tree has, I don't know, 100 times the root system to capture carbon. Imagine this one 3 times more. So, but we cannot see it. So they can become the center of excellence peatland hydrology. And of course, collaboration is needed among key parties to turn this region into a hub for this knowledge and for climate impact. And this is the system look like, you know, the peatlands, and the knowledge enhance the water development, use storytelling, because there's a lot of indigenous nations there, and use that storytelling capability for everyone to come to the region with regeneration in mind, and keep these carbon sink features and learn from it to develop new ways of carbon capture. So we look at Peru, so sort of semi-rural, maybe a bit more developed. We look at the Ring of Fire, really rural. Now we look at Quebec, it is developed. So Quebec, we all know, is a hydropower hub, but yet it faces energy scarcity as it works towards achieving decarbonization goals by 2050. If you replace all fossil fuel, diesel, with clean energy, there's not enough hydropower to achieve that. So the DSP solution focuses on establishing a stable grid supply, integrating, as you can see, various green energy sources, including hydropower with variable hydrogen that follows the variation of wind and solar to add more power. And power sources and sinks must be optimally managed, and renewable power, hydrogen and storage to complement existing hydropower and keep those reservoirs full. And this, so there's nothing new combining all of these types of energy, but what's new is providing a stable supply to the grid. And that requires expertise in managing the energy demand and supply of this complex ecosystem, requires smart tools and knowledge of optimization expertise. And that will be the basis of the knowledge industry. So it's the ability to keep this system optimized, which doesn't exist anywhere in the world, in order to provide a stable supply to the grid. So now we go to a location in northwestern BC. So it's semi-rural and probably a bit more to the Golden Triangle. So this region is challenging terrain, extremely rich in mineral wealth, but as you can see in this image, it's mainly mountains. It's not readily accessible. And therefore, we were looking at different ways, perhaps looking at a collaborative mining economy to begin with, and share equipment, work together, and even pipelines, because some mines are in the high altitude and the ports in the lower lands, and use the pipeline to transport the concentrate and so on. But also the remote operating these mines, because we can have build a lot of capacity in every mine area, but rather, and right now they use fly in and fly out. So instead, there is a region nearby, Smithers, for example, and build capacity there for a collaborative mine that's remotely operated. And then you will have, of course, expertise in sensing, all the remote operations, and that capability can be also transferred into wildlife monitoring, which is, quite diverse, biodiversity in this region, and including avalanche warning, because with the climate change, there's a lot more fires, the landscape is changing, there's a lot more avalanches. So just wanted to stay a minute in this. So it leads you into sound technologies, acoustics, engineering, and there's also a number of indigenous nations here, and the sound and acoustics is deep rooted in these nations for communication, for warnings, for their religious rituals and so on. So, for example, this same range, mountain range, goes all the way from the north all the way to the south. In Peru, the same mountain range around, I don't know if you're familiar with Antamina or Ancash region, where there's the White Mountain and Black Mountain. There is a region, a culture called Shabin. They were 2,000 years before Christ, and they were the best acoustic engineers in the world. They built a hollow temple in a challenging terrain similar to this, that had a network of resonance rooms connected to sound transmission tubes. So water would rush through these underground channels that nobody knew existed of the temple and create the voices of their gods. So just wanted to share, if we can bring that hidden knowledge and replicate this sound acoustics technologies for remote sensing mines, but also for agriculture, for health and other things. So just wanted to share an example that even so, finding what's really unique about these indigenous nations from the way past. So this is just the system for this region. So collaborative remote mining, of course, fueled by clean energy. And we discussed the acoustics, sensor technology for remote mining, and hone that and export that know-how. So now I would like to describe a little bit, this is the method. So rather than showing you a flow chart, I did this drawing myself. So hopefully it's a bit more clear what this method is about. So designing sustainable prosperity, it's a facilitated processes that focuses on identifying the hidden human and natural resource, the untapped natural resource potential and the untapped human potential, the essence of the region. So I did this for a presentation for the OECD, and the OECD was in Sudbury. So this image is for Sudbury. As you all know, Sudbury was formed, how the earth was formed in Sudbury. A meteorite hit Sudbury and made a hole and melted the mantle and got all the nickel ready to mine, as you can see here. So what we want to show here is from the depths of the earth, the unique untapped potential for this region in terms of water, energy, storage capability, even soil quality. And from the depths of the human, from the past, as I share from this Shabin culture, what's really the knowledge that is bubbling inside, and identify that, and from that, the twists in the tree is the design part of it, where it's a systems design. Since we don't really work on systems, we need a transformation in order to a different way of thinking to look at things as systems and then be able to co-create the future for the region in terms of water, energy, agriculture, infrastructure, education, and so on. So that in Sudbury, one of the issues is the one commodity economy. They're doing very well, but it's one commodity economy, but also need to be united to work together. And they already went through one transformation that was from polluted into now a green city. So they're ready for a second transformation, maybe into a blue zone. But for now, we have green, all united into a thriving and vibrant future. And the result of this method is attractive investment packages, including business cases and roadmaps to attract investment to the area, to build that knowledge economy that will be enabled by mining during the boom of mining. So the key inputs for the design are, we use geoscience to figure out how the earth was formed in a region. So we'll integrate the natural resource models, integrating mainly subsurface potential, and then layer surface potential and climate impact to visualize, like an X-ray, what's the hidden potential of the region. And as I said, using earth science to figure out how the earth was formed in the region and identify new sources of water, energy, storage options, and even soil quality. A key is understanding the whole water cycle. I haven't seen any region having really a good position understanding the water cycle, especially the underground reservoirs. Now, the design itself follows 7 steps. So remember, we talked the inputs for the design. Now we are on the design itself. It goes through 7 steps because, again, it's a system solution. So the first 2 steps is preparation of the team to achieve the co-creation for the region. And this could be 30, 50 people in a team from diverse backgrounds, from private investors, utility investors, government, academia, community leaders. So you have a diverse people with different targets. So the first 2 steps, preparation before going into the design. Because again, the objective is to unlock the full potential of both human and natural resources. So the preparation, the first step is to ignite the human potential. So each individual and the team breaks free from limitation and is open to collaborate and go in this journey. And the second step, to expand the transformation to the entire region, the learnings from the first step to take it to the second step and do the same for the region. Because in many cases we say we can't do anything in this region, we try this and that, is to break free from those and then be able to formulate a bold vision for the region without looking at any facts yet, just playing with intention. So it's doing, formulating the right questions, the right hypothesis, testing it together as a team in order to generate ideas, because the best ideas come when you're exhausted with ideas. So only on the third step, when you have been dreaming about yourself and the region and you review the facts, a breakthrough occurs when you see those dreams aren't too far from the reality. And that's when the juicy, the most creative ideas come to light. And then the team is ready. And the fourth step, to design the future of the region. And then this step is to create the system solution in terms of water, energy, infrastructure, agriculture, and so on, and education. And then, of course, once we know what the focus of, and then put all the network of ideas and the patterns to determine the knowledge economy, then we can see the path of highest impact, and we build the short-term, medium-term, and long-term plans, the path to the future. and then adapt the education system, skills, and tools to support that evolving economy. And to keep the momentum, they create an environment to live in the ever-emerging age of creative possibility. We are using the method of expanding awareness of possibility gradually, as you can see. First, the 2 steps of preparation, the self, the region, then validating those with the facts, and then co-create and keep expanding the awareness possibilities, and then create the environment to continue. So, because we are creating innovation hubs. So just briefly, how this societal transformation works. It's, to begin with, is live in awe and wonder. Awe and wonder creates curiosity. Curiosity pushes us to explore, to discover new possibilities. But it is more than that. Awe and wonder is easy to just look for the extraordinary, look for something wonderful, a sunrise, a sunset. But the key is to look at the extraordinary in the ordinary, to see the unseen, like we say in geoscience, to see what seems extraordinary. And we are surrounded by that in every day of our lives, in everything we do. So it's really, the key is see the wonder in everything you see. And then that's going to get us, create curiosity, formulate the right questions, the right hypotheses, the right ideas, out of the box ideas, and then act on them, action on them. So think in different ways, to act in different ways, and that's when we really grow and expand our awareness of possibilities and where transformation occurs. DSP satisfies all indigenous needs, community needs. So as you can read faster than I can read here, addresses the region, the societal well-being, the capacity building. This capacity building is becoming a big issue, but everybody agrees we have to build capacity. But what skills will be needed in the future? What capacity do we need to build? If you're just in mining centric, mining will end at some point. So what's going to be next? And that to be built, to be designed during the boom of the commodity industry. But also, use that ancient knowledge of indigenous, of different regions. It's not very obvious, but we have to research. For example, the story I share about Chavin is the people in the region don't know about it. We have to do a lot of research to find that out. But there is a lot of incredible knowledge coming from the past. And, preserve the culture, and the future is just all about collaboration. And I think it's key empowering the local. To be sustainable, we have to cut the dependency. For example, mining is doing amazing stuff now, but a lot is still depending on them. If they will not be there, maybe a lot of these wonderful initiatives may not continue. Therefore, empower the local force to lead, to run those businesses so that it is sustainable. And there's a process for that in the method. And of course, the education. And we prioritize in this method the business cases using UNSDG indicators, but also those are used to measure progress over time. So the goal is to leave behind resilient and sustainable regions, so creating jobs, enhancing health and security, protecting the environment, attracting investment. And this approach improves the reception of mining and sets the stage for long-term regional prosperity. There is a book out there, you can find it in Amazon of Wiley, and the book equips you. There's no IP from Match or from me, anyone, everything is there. The secret's doing it, but it's open for everyone to make it better. So it keeps you with the tools and insights to turn all this into reality. We have a chance to redefine our relationship with nature and communities, and together develop balanced solution. Thank you.
Okay, this is your opportunity to ask questions galore to Doris. So she's very interested in understanding what you're thinking and your queries. So feel free to add your questions in the chat box, and we will read it out to Doris. Or you can feel free to send to Doris directly.
Yeah, I have a little problem here.
Okay, I've got one question. I'm a believer in what you're saying, but how can government play a part in this, right? Because you talked about industry, you talked about even individuals, right? But how are you going to get the the involvement of not just federal government and not just provincial, but also local governments and community decision makers involved?
Yeah, great question. So this starts, to start ESP starts with one champion.
Mm-hmm.
It could be from a mining investor, a community leader, a government representative, academia, anywhere. So you only need one champion. And then through the process, many more champions are identified. Of course, government has to be included in any of these efforts. And depends of the country, like in Canada, yes, definitely government plays a key role. And it could be in Canada, could be in many cases, the first champion as a convener to bring everyone to the table to work together towards the prosperity for the region. So they play a key role, but their role is to provide the environment for things to happen. So once we figure out they are part of developing the solution, the system solution for the region, and then policies are a result of those as well, and is to implement those policies and create the environment for infrastructure and so on in order for a successful implementation.
So there's a follow-up question just because of my background, okay? How could local educational providers like universities or the VCCs or the BCITs and even high schools, right, get involved with this?
Great. I'm now in Queen's University, I'm calling from there.
Okay.
And they have, the mining engineers have taken this project. They have worked on design sustainable prosperity. They took 3 regions, Nova Scotia, Ring of Fire, and Northwestern BC. And they have taken as part of their class and work on these projects. And I came here because they were doing the presentations yesterday, the outcome of their work. They worked for 3 months. So they're, so any university, McGill is also interested, can take this as a project. So what was amazing was, no matter what the outcome of the project was, what they learn is they learn to be comfortable with uncertainty. So they can formulate the right questions, questioning the status quo. And also they learn design thinking. They learn systems approach, systems thinking, systems design. And they learn how important is at the very beginning, figure out what problem you're working. Mm-hmm. Most of our society, you know, we are so busy, we spend so much time, but we don't know what we are trying to do. Know what problem we're trying to solve, but we're so busy because we don't want to make decisions. We don't want to cut the scope, and we're just there for spend the time as a society. So I was really so encouraged to see these young people. We did a debriefing today, and they really went through transformation, including the profs.
Okay.
So I will encourage any university to take this on and run with it, and it's transformational. But then you have to sort of refresh your programs to be a lot more open for creativity and for truly learning, and not just passing exams and so on.
Good. There is a question, okay,
Yes.
and from Anne, okay, and basically she says mining requires a financial return on investment in order to have funds to invest in the next project and to reward investors. In the global development framework, you suggested some aspects will generate cash and some aspects will absorb cash. How can you sustain both?
Yeah, great question. Thanks, Annie. So just want to make it clear first, this is not a mining effort. Mining becomes a catalyst, an enabler, and costs them a lot less than what's happening today. Today, they are the only providers of income. They are the only employer, and therefore they are in a vulnerable target. So they are asked beyond their obligations. Like, for example, New Brunswick, I think Rio Tinto, when the water pipe breaks, they knock the door, Rio Tinto, you fix it. It's their job, but they are seen as the fixer of everything. So right now, as it is, mining taking the dependency of most things, it costs a lot more and it's never ending. By doing DSP, you take back and become an enabler, a catalyst, and cut the dependencies on day one. And you're one of the players and one of the components of the ecosystem, but you are not the doer, because otherwise you have to stay there forever, investing in other industries and continue being the main. And also, so that's first, mining is not a mining exercise, but mining becomes from being barely accepted or hated into a force for good, because you are there interested in the region prosperity. And the funding, you can give part of the funding, which is a fraction compared of what you need to spend to get by and comply and get accepted. So in the other way, you are one of the players, build trust, and therefore better acceptance. So you can focus in mining and innovate. On the other aspect of the profitability, first, when you spend less by getting by and comply, you will have better returns. But also by working on designs, a lot of the solutions and designs to prosperity are solutions to tackle climate change or nature positive solutions. So there's a lot to take advantage from those business cases to compensate for the harm to the environment, for example. So it doesn't have to be less profitable. It actually has to be more profitable. And you de-risk your investment because you are not the only one. When you're the only one, the risk is higher. With other players coming into it to diversify the economy in a well-thought way, which will be the pillars of the future economy, then you de-risk your investment.
Okay. Any additional questions for Doris? Okay, just following up a question I had before, okay? Because I was talking about, what were we doing throughout Canada and all stuff. It's good to hear, the efforts that are being made in Ontario and Quebec and New Brunswick, right? But what about in the West Coast? And what about in Central Canada?
Yeah, we can do the same. I think there's interest in Saskatchewan, and we'll be talking to them soon. We can My dream is that it happens all over Canada because we are so strong in mining and extractive industry, and we're so proud of what we have done and what we have done with the indigenous. So if we can show the world how we can transition during the boom of our extractive industry into the future industries, because we cannot create the future the way we created the past. Now we have a method and a green way to create a green future, but this both development and sustainable is not just one. So if you can show the world how we can be successful at both, and then others, because we are all saying we need a better world, we need this and that, but how to? The how to is missing. And if you can show we can do in our different regions, there are different solutions for each region, and the world can follow, doing their own, adapting to their own realities, then we can probably move faster into a better future than going back to the past or keeping the status quo.
If people want to get a hold of you because they have comments to make, how would they be able to reach out to you?
Yeah, there's an email. There was maybe email or LinkedIn anyway. But the beautiful thing is, for example, the Queen's University, I was traveling so much, I couldn't, I spent time at the beginning, but the profs they were wonderful. They jump on in, they did the design with the students, they all went into uncertainty and they did it brilliantly. So my goal is that all of this pass into everyone, and that people add their ideas, and we can actually create a better future for all. But they can get hold of me anyway, because I'm all over now, LinkedIn or email, or through you, or through a CIM. Okay. Anyway, happy to, but what I'm doing is cutting the dependency. So give as much as time, as much as support for things to flow naturally in a sustainable way.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this, as everybody knows, is being recorded. So if in the near future you're interested in, listen to the recording, I'm going to show you exactly where you can find it. So bear with me for 2 seconds, okay?
And I would like to make one more comment before we end.
Definitely. Feel free to do it. How's that?
Yeah, that is, I heard the previous presenter and then the Minister of Innovation and the indigenous leaders at the OECD, they all come to, the indigenous said, money without a plan doesn't help. And we see the results. Then the Minister of Innovation was saying, now everybody, we need to reindustrialize, but we forgot how to do it. But we can't do it the way we did in the past. So therefore, here's the method for everyone to add their input and make it better, to how to reindustrialize, how to create a future different from the past. But also the previous speaker of this society, what was it, Stewart, also was mentioning about that we need a plan, with all these dreams and objectives and goals, but we need a plan, a practical plan, actionable plan, and how to get there. So just wanted to, anybody who's interested, happy to spend whatever time it needs in order to share as much as I can for all of us to make a difference in this world. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
When Doris was referring to Stuart Bergman, Chief Economist of Export Development Canada. Okay, so this is okay. So if in the near future you're interested in listening to the recording of this presentation or recordings of past presentations, I'm going to show you exactly where you can find it. So you just have to basically go online, go to CIMMES.org, which is our MES website. And if you go right here under this tab, National, okay, you just click on that, okay? And on the right-hand side, you'll see this menu right here, okay? Just go under highlights from past CIM MES events, and you'll get to this page right here. On this page, on the top, you will see in the very near future the link where you can access the recording for this presentation. So it's going to be here, but you can also access to other presentations we had in the past. So as you can see, our Life Cycles and Minerals companies video recording is right here. Also others, as you can see right here. So feel free to go through this page and go through past recordings, and you'll find a few hidden gems, within the mix itself. So I encourage you to review our website. There's lots of information within our MES website, and also if you wish to be an active member with MES, we're always eager to listen to hear from you. So all you have to do is go here in our menu under Contact Us and just fill out this and put your question, and we will be glad to answer your question. If you're interested in volunteering for MES, okay, because we do a lot of good things throughout Canada over the year, and unfortunately, these things take a lot of time. Well, not everything, but a few things take a lot of time and effort, and we're always eager to have active participation within MES. So if you're interested in becoming a volunteer within MES, let us know, and we will promise you to keep you busy. That's the best way to put it, right?
Carlos, I have one more question before they go.
Definitely.
So is it possible for whoever is left, just put a few words of your takeaways from this session, just a few words so we can see in the chat your main takeaway.
If you're unaware where you can access the chat, on the menu, you'll see just beside participants, the chat box. Just click on that and feel free to add your question or your comments.
Oh, takeaway.
Yeah, or takeaway, exactly.
Yeah, wonderful. Mine is part of a solution. Thank you. So I want to hear more. Whatever takeaway. That's great.
Mohammed says, thank you for your presentation. Very interesting.
Yeah, mine is part. So I want to hear more.
Okay.
It's good. So at least we got two.
Yes. So I first want to thank Doris, right? So thank you, Doris, for presenting today. Really wonderful. I also want to thank Jackie, right, for being the wing person to making this event happen. I also want to thank you, the audience, for joining us today. And last but not least, our sponsor, IAMGOLD. But there is additional comments here, and basically says complex and interesting, but requires follow-up.
Happy to follow up, Annie, and your question was super. So let's connect.
Okay. On that note, I hope and there's another one from Neen. Okay, look at the big picture.
Wonderful. I love that one.
Okay, good. Any additional comments before we wrap things up for today? Okay, I'm hearing crickets, so that means no. So thank you everybody for joining us today. It's wonderful. We're going to take a small break during for the rest of the year, but we will be featuring another event in the new year. So if you're not on our mailing list, okay, and you wish to be on our mailing list, just send us an email as I instructed you, and we will make sure that we add you to our mailing list. We do not sell anything, meaning that whatever information you share with us, it's kept confidential. So feel free to send us your email address, your name, and where you work and your role, and we will definitely keep you abreast of future events within MES. So thank you for today. Have a lovely day, and see you again in a new year. Take care.
Thank you.